It's time for the final series of the HGC weekend. Jayhow and I just had some cake, and we are ready and raring to go for the match between Octalysis and ENDEMIC.
Well, you know, I'd say that the excitement of series number one, maybe not as high as it could have been, but that was due to the dominant performance of Tempo Storm.
Yep.
So I think that is what you expect from a team like that, but this series definitely brings a lot of potential hype to it as well between Octalysis and there's going to be some former teammates and things of that nature that we can get into later, but I'm looking forward to this one quite heavily.
That I am too. We're going to look at the standings of today, of the entire part for North America, because we see now Tempo Storm go up 5-0. They've played 5 matches. Heroes Hearth have only played 4. That's the only difference. We'll see if Heroes Hearth can tie it up with a win over Tempo Storm. Next week, they also play ENDEMIC next week. ENDEMIC and Team Octalysis, they are not only looking at teammates, previous teammates, Dansky and Cure playing against their old team of Team Octalysis, but they are also tied straight up in standings 2-2 apiece.
I mean, one of those teams right now currently standing, obviously one of these teams could potentially move into that 4th spot for Western Clash. Obviously, Team Freedom is still in that contention, that 3, 4, 5 spot. Obviously, heavily contested amongst these teams, but it's establishing yourself there to have that chance to go to Western Clash, and it starts here. And I think one of those teams, especially as you had alluded to earlier for ENDEMIC, they desperately need this win because of one of their previous losses to Simplicity.
Yeah, it's otherwise you're looking at a very difficult time because trying to win versus both Heroes Hearth and Tempo Storm is asking a lot of a new roster versus these veteran squads. Yes, we've seen that Vin has come on to Tempo Storm, but Vin has made a name for himself on Tempo Storm and looking really good with this lineup. So this one is very important for both of these teams. Let's hear from Big E and Goku about this match.
Our series with ENDEMIC is going to be fairly close. Probably one of the more intense series that we're going to have to play. ENDEMIC's had a couple of roster rolls at the moment, so currently I would say they're fairly inconsistent. It'll take some time to see them grow, but I wouldn't expect their final form during this HGC phase. So I expect the series going to almost a 3-2, and it can be for any team, either ENDEMIC or us.
I don't know the main issues on Octalysis because it's not my team, but I think they play a lot of wonky comps, and if we can adapt fast to that, we should come out with the win. We're gonna take the Octalysis match just as we're gonna take Freedom in every other match. Just play hard and bring it home.
Now, of course, that interview was taken before ENDEMIC's match versus Team Freedom, which was on Friday. And though it was a 3-2, make no mistake, most of the games that ENDEMIC played versus Team Freedom, they fell behind in the early game. It was a mistake by Team Freedom on Brax's holdout that ENDEMIC was very good at punishing, and they punished and got a lot done from that let them even take it to Game 5, because other than that, they won Sky Temple, but a lot of the other maps were so dominant for Team Freedom.
And for Octalysis, they are a team that when they come out and they can come out strong, they will come out and deliver the biggest punch of the fight and then just come forward and dominate the game themselves. And I think getting behind against a team like Octalysis, they ride a lot of momentum for this team. But for Octalysis, as we said in our previous games, for them, it's about discovering that identity. And what we saw was a lot of Li Ming play and a lot of flashy plays from Prismat. So I think for this team, they need to continue to narrow those hero pools, find their identity, and I think they're going to have their second opportunity here, and picking up the win would be a major step towards those Western Clash hopes.
Well, Game 1 in this best of 5 will be on Dragonshire, chosen by ENDEMIC. Looking at the bans, Octalysis is going to ban away Sky Temple. ENDEMIC sticks with the Volskaya Foundry ban that they changed up for the series versus Team Freedom. I thought that might have been for the entire weekend. Both Freedom and Octalysis had that ban, and we're looking at this for Octalysis, though, banning away Sky Temple. That's one of the maps that's been most successful for ENDEMIC. It's also something that they were able to keep a ban going and trying to stay against versus maybe somebody like LFM2, but mainly when you look at ENDEMIC and how strong they have been on Sky Temple, taking that away takes away a lot of the punch that ENDEMIC is looking to give.
Well, Dragonshire, we've seen so much Dragonshire in North America, and since we've started this phase, It's been very different, I'd say, to have it not only just prioritized, but first pick for a lot of these teams that they are so comfortable going to this battleground now, where I think North America generally would shy away from this in the past. They've now fully embraced it. And so we're getting a heavy dose of the Dragonshire, and Octalysis, I can tell you, again, expect the unexpected was our theme with this team before, and I'd still say that we can probably expect some more unexpected from this team, especially on this battleground.
Another thing to expect between these two teams as we head into future games, maybe here, but maybe on some of the other maps, high emphasis on melee heroes. For ENDEMIC this week, when they played versus Team Freedom, it was about that Thrall for Dansky. For Octalysis versus Simplicity, we saw Dreyded play the Malthael and then Goku play an excellent Tyrael, getting the first victory of Tyrael in all of North America this phase.
Yeah, we've seen Dreyded flex over to that, and they have relied on that. So I think Thrall here is viable for both teams due to that point you had just made, and whether it's Dreyded flexing onto that Thrall or whether we get that on the other side, I think that is definitely something that this battleground warrants. It's something, again, Tempo Storm kind of originated earlier this year, and a lot of teams have picked up upon to use that in that mid lane structure. Not necessarily the solo lane you would expect, just a little bit different use of that hero.
Yeah, ENDEMIC played Thrall 3 times in their match, and none of those games versus Team Freedom were played by the solo laner Kyr, which you can see that hero flex back and forth. It was always played by Dansky with things like Sonya, Dahaka, even a Blaze. So that is something that ENDEMIC has in their arsenal. Also something that could be in either of these teams' arsenal now. ENDEMIC took a long time to decide on this. They took away Yrel, and I do want to talk more about the solo lane and a point that I brought up earlier, but what do you make of this change up and not allowing Tracer through?
The Tracer for both teams, Octalysis hasn't really shown a lot of it. ENDEMIC on the other side, Biggie is a menace on that hero. So if you're going to do it, I think this is the map where you kind of have to have either the Johanna or the Tassadar, if not both, to make sure you have the wave clear. So the solo lane obviously being prioritized by banning Yrel. We're going to see Dahaka picked up. ENDEMIC, of course, with Yrel already banned and Dahaka picked up, I don't know if we'll see them pass on Blaze, but Kyr is one of the most Sonya-prone players, not prone, but Sonya-likely players that we have.
Thank you for that tweet, Glowing Robot. I too agree, like Brightwing is for the Horde.
You guys are both crazy.
Seeing this Dahaka now is what I want to talk about with Yrel. Yrel has been Goku's most picked hero already, given the fact that she's very new to the Nexus. She's our newest hero. Octalysis now gets Dahaka with the Yrel ban, and I was looking at win rates. Dahaka's sitting at 41%, but when you take away the first week, which is the week before Yrel started to see play in North America because she hadn't been buffed yet, it's something like a 16%. He's struggling heavily in the solo lane, and Kyr and the rest of ENDEMIC, Kyr's played Yrel, I think, once or twice, but has not shown the same kind of adaptation to pick up Yrel as Goku. And in the match between ENDEMIC and Freedom, Dahaka played 4 times, and though this isn't the whole of the equation, there's other things to consider, lost every single one of the games, 2 for Team Freedom and twice for ENDEMIC. So Dahaka is somebody I'm going to be keeping my eye on. We'll see how it works out for Octalysis here. Given that Yrel is already gone, maybe it's going to work out better.
Well, Chromie, of course, has had high priority for Biggie and even Dansky at times for ENDEMIC. You do get the wave clear for Johanna. I think Tracer is still an option because Chromie can contribute to the wave clear. Johanna definitely has wave clear, and then Tracer can kind of be that flanking position. Phoenix and Murden are great pickups. Murden and Dahaka, a little bit more unkillable. Dahaka can burrow under. Murden high health pool plus Avatar. Phoenix can warp out. So you do have options if you do want to let that Tracer through, but they do have to consider banning that still. And for ENDEMIC, there hasn't been a lot shown here. Phoenix doesn't show much. We know the Jaina comes in, the Li Ming comes in, things of that nature. I think for ENDEMIC, they've got to consider taking away from Octalysis.
That's also a denial from ENDEMIC, because twice ENDEMIC has picked Phoenix on Dragonshire, but that comes at the cost for ENDEMIC of being able to get Chromie and get Johanna. Johanna, we have talked at length about the strength of her in the Nexus right now in North American meta, but to have that Chromie now, is it worth it to lose out on the Phoenix? We will find out. Octalysis get that pick. ENDEMIC also like to have Rhaegar on this battleground, though the Bloodlust versus Freedom, unfortunately not working out for them the way they would have liked.
I don't know if we'll be seeing any more Bloodlust anytime soon.
I think
Look,
you're probably right on that.
The nerfs to Ancestral definitely make it more appealing. Zeratul is going to be banned out. That goes into the extra melee that we know Octalysis can run because they have played Zeratul before.
On this map.
And generally, if you're banning Zeratul, we know Falstad is a prime Zeratul target. So Octalysis is like, wait a minute, if they're banning Zeratul, they know that Falstad is definitely a hero that we've seen teams run on this. It gives you that extra global. But with Blaze and Sonya still up now, it's just a matter of what Cure wants to pick. But that second damage dealer, still need to figure out what that is. Something with a little bit more sustain than a Chromie.
You talked about Tracer. Malfurion and Tracer are still up. They've still made it all the way to this point in the draft, which is fairly curious given a lot of the other drafts in North America. If not that, we've seen a lot more Greymane. Hanzo is still up too. A lot of these ranged damage dealers that are able to give some wave clear, give some camp clear too, fill multiple hats.
I mean, I'm totally cool if they want to go Hanzo here. I mean, it gives you sustain, it gives you a bit more burst, gets you that control. We're going to see Greymane. Greymane has seen a tremendous uptick in North America as of late, and we'll continue to see that as Dansky does have one game logged on Chromie, at least coming into this weekend, or not Chromie, but Greymane coming into this weekend. Of course, the Chromie has been played a lot as well, so could be either.
That is an isolation composition if I've ever seen one, and one that Freedom ran versus ENDEMIC on Sky Temple, the Greymane and the Karazim for a Cursed Bullet 7-sided strike. Now if Dahaka is up in the top lane and he gets a little too forward in the lane, this might be something that can be punished, though, of course, he has a burrow to try to avoid some of that damage.
I mean, you don't even have to use 7-sided strike. A Bless Shield, Cursed Bullet, Chromie Bomb coming in there. I mean, there is... In Rhaegar, we've seen the Rhaegar. This might be, hey, we need a cleanse. You need some type of safety option.
Yeah, and that's with Dahaka already taken, so there's no Blaze to give the bunker to. Heads up from ENDEMIC.
I don't even know if Blaze has time during that combo.
That's a good point. Final two choices for Team Octalysis. They get Malfurion, and they'll bring Tracer in. That is... Has Octalysis played Tracer yet?
I don't believe so.
Yes, Draded has
Okay,
played.
yeah, one game. I think that was a BOE game now, if I remember correctly, but ENDEMIC here, they need their last pick. Support still available. We've seen some Deckard. Excuse me, no, Karazim was picked up. So we need the offlaner. So Blaze or Sonya. Really, probably nothing outside of that. Blaze I like just because, you know, Tracer's on the other side and Bunker's pretty good, I hear. You do have, again, if the combo is just Chromie, Greymane, Johanna, you don't need 7-sided strike. And you could just go Palm to make sure that you have those Pulse Bomb targets.
Very true.
Safe and sound.
I think this will probably not be a temporal game, though, because it's Dragonshire, like we saw in the last one, there still are some times when you might find the team spread apart, but there's things like Warp and Recall already to try to help with that, even though Malfurion was chosen as the support, doesn't get Ice Block until 13. ETC to solo lane for ENDEMIC gives the global, but it's not until Heroic Abilities at 10.
ETC is prime Pulse Bomb target. Like, I see an ETC, I am Pulse Bombing him all day, especially in the solo lane. That Tracer could easily flex up there. The Phoenix has enough wave clear. It's just a matter of camp manipulation by ENDEMIC to make sure that it forces out a response, whether it's through the night camp top or siege camp or night camp bottom, to kind of keep them busy and keep the Tracer a little bit busy, because if you don't get the gank in one of those lanes, those camps get more value because you don't have that added defense and you've committed more resources to getting a kill as opposed to defense. In early game, those camps are going to win out versus the potential early game kills of a Tracer. Yeah,
there is, between Karazim and Greymane, a lot of rotations possible for ENDEMIC to not only get camps, but possibly to go in, get some early structure damage done, or even get a pick.
Well, we're going to see how this plays out here as we're going to kick things off with ENDEMIC on the left here in blue, as Dansky will be on the Greymane Cure on the ETC. See how he fares in that solo lane. Biggie bringing the bombs on the Chromie. Michael Udall supporting nowadays on the Karazim, and of course rounding it out is going to be B-Kid on Johanna.
In the red, Team Octalysis hot off a victory over Simplicity. Warrior player Justing playing the Muradin Goku. He'll be up in the top playing Dahaka, Draded, Zon Tracer once again, Prismaticism playing Phoenix, and finally Malfurion will be played by Buds.
You know, Gilly, this is a similar composition for Endemic when they grabbed an early night camp and rotated top. And there's going to be a power slide over, a little bit of early skirmish. Cure, the drag's going to be there. I'm telling you, ETC is prime target. The minute you slide, you lose basically all control. That's a little bit of a rough start, but again, Phoenix has to basically stay in the bottom 2 lanes for wave clear, which means Tracer is that rotation hero that could go top. And if you have a Greymane, Karazim, ETC pushing in with a camp early, it's a tough defense. Curious if Endemic's going to try and replicate that.
Well, that was a warning shot fired by Octalysis on Cure. Draded, I believe he still has recall. He's going to blink in. Now he recalls out, but it's in the hands of Dansky, and Cure following that up. Very well done to try to get the control over that.
That was very well done.
So you and I have talked about the flexibility of Octalysis a lot. Now they're sitting at 36 heroes played over 4 matches, 12 more than Endemic has shown for us. So continuing to show us a lot of different playstyles, a lot of different heroes, and I'm excited to see how this Tracer works out for them despite that first kill.
Here we go. This is the rotation. You force somebody like Phoenix to have to deal with the Siege Giants bottom. You grab those Knights at the top. They do need to, however, keep control over the Shrines, or at least contest the middle point, which Johanna does do very well. But that rotation that we're seeing going top is already being responded to here by Octalysis, as Phoenix is at least middle, can make that rotation up as B-Kid trying to hold on to this point for now.
Nobody getting either of the Shrines yet. Dansky's going to come to the mid as a fresh health bar to try to help out with this, because B-Kid takes a Pulse Bomb, nearly a parting gift to take his life. Now Cure is coming down too, buying some time until those bruisers can push out enough so maybe he can get that Shrine. Chromie's been doing what she can bottom, but with a single Malfurion in there, can't get on that point. Octalysis gets this Dragon Knight. Sometimes that's the cost with the trying to get those early camps, Jay Howe.
Well, Endemic's early strategy is now, I don't want to say it's busted, but it sure is taking a huge step back. That is very difficult now. Clear strategy, clear focus on the camps. But when you lose focus of the camps, you lose focus of the Shrine. And if you can't hold those areas, 2-minute DK coming right at you.
Yeah, and if had Endemic maybe had the Dahaka, he could have stalked to help out Big E, force Malfurion off, so then they would have still had one there. But because everyone was just trying to go to the mid, and one by one, Endemic's health bars were worn down. Finally, this Dragon Knight was obtained now. A Pulse Bomb in Roots. Buds' Roots this game have already been insane.
That parting gift almost took down Danes. That is a level 6 scaled Tracer on Pulse Bomb. I mean, Octalysis is coming out firing right now.
Draded's making it happen. And the rest of Octalysis too. What was the cost of getting the early camps and losing the Dragon Knight? A couple of front walls, no wells were lost, but Octalysis has a camp up that they might be able to use. Dahaka goes down as Endemic goes in for a gank with that Greymane and Karazim. That's going to help a lot. Can they even get the invade here? B-Kid wants to get on the point if he can. Michael Udall even jumped in using a dash. Going to dash out, but there is Draded waiting. Great power slide from Cure.
Traded recalled at the almost perfect time to get out of there. And now here comes the assault again from Octalysis. Nice power slide is actually going to save B-Kid's life.
Here.
But it's also, Biggie almost traded with Cure there. This is an absolute brawl to start this game. You know, they used to call this game a brawler. We MOBA now.
That's a prime example of why the invasion, if that goes south, That is such a long way to run away, all the way diagonally, funneling through, allowing Tracer to chase you down, which is something that Tracer does really well. If the Bud's roots connected, it would have been 1 kill, but then Kira had a great power slide. Biggie came in, almost, with the Bronze Talons, got the kill to Tracer, but then still coming on top of Octalysis, and the experience bar alone shows you what exactly is working out for them from that, having almost a full level lead. And being able to steal the Giants are both 2 nice things for Octalysis as we get the next Shrine phase going.
Well, it is going to be Temporal Loop, and I think Tracer Recall helps. The Burrow from Dahaka, the high health pull of Muradin, the Warp out by Phoenix, and the potential Ice Block and the expected Ice Block at 13 for Malfurion are options to deal with that. So getting some value is going to happen now if it's going to happen consistently, and I think that's the hard time, is finding those consistent kills. But as you alluded to, with the pickup of the draft of Endemic, does have you with several kill potential heroics that can follow up any Temporal Loop.
It may just be forcing one of those abilities and then the team diving in after them with the Greymane, with the Karzim, even ETC. But the diving of ETC is what scares me, because Stage Dive has not done that well versus a Malfurion. And this is a Malfurion that could maybe even take Twilight Dream, which he does. There's going to be Goku there too, just waiting to see if he can hit him with the isolation. Cure has to be so careful about where he dives in against Octalysis. And Endemic needs to be careful about how much they're losing, because they focus top, they get the top 4, but they are losing out so much in the bottom lane because of that multiple camp pressure.
There's needing 10, and then there's is 10 worth it. Power slide, 7-sided strike, Justine Avatar pop. Gonna be enough health for him to live there. That damage was significant in the bot lane. Full level lead still for Octalysis. That tower barely holding on there. 1 brick is pretty much all that holds that up. 1 stone.
Another double shrine control by Team Octalysis. Last time it was hard for Endemic to figure out the lane setup so that they could take one of these shrines away. This time they're getting more aggressive in the bottom lane with a tri-lane that's looking to get that kill on Dahaka. They don't get it. Twilight Dream and Purification Salva, Pulse Bomb, everything. Can Michael Udall live? Just barely. Just barely.
Butts hit that Moonfire, and I thought for sure that was the end of Udall, but Pulse Bomb now has come so close. The Greymane earlier, the Karazim there. I mean, Endemic is lucky to be getting away with a couple of these.
Well, Dahaka stalked in after getting the bottom shrine. These shrines are permanently red. They might as well paint them red. That's how much control they have had over this. Already 1 kill too as they take out ETC. Octalysis has full control of this mid lane now, and with those shrines so easily taken, they'll get another Dragon Knight to try to further this lead.
They're in control right now. I mean, there is no doubt about it. Octalysis is determined to win. 7-sided strike does work against the DK, so taking down some damage.
And it's a pretty easy target to stack up some Sandblasts against. Chromie will be working on that, sitting at 32 stacks currently.
Fist work, cursed bullets do not. I don't think that's fair. Stage dive.
Here it is. Immediate isolation in the Pulse Bomb too. Michael Udall doing his best to help out, but he takes a ton of damage for his efforts. Now the Purification Salve is there to try to finish him off. Doesn't get it though. Even with the Arsenal synergy, the parting gift, everything. Cure lives, but it is just.
What is Endemic's logo?
Panther.
What is a panther a form of?
Cat.
How many lives does Endemic have? My goodness.
Cure at least. He's up there.
I mean, he's died, but there could be more. Team Octalysis is just bringing the pain in this game.
Part of this has been they have a camp composition. Yes, they being Endemic, but their composition trying to stay on one of the shrines has just not worked out at all for them. Octalysis so freely is getting these shrines, and that only gets worse now with so many forts down, that it forces Endemic to sit in the mid and try to fight, and Octalysis has, as it looks, a pretty solid team fighting comp too.
The sustain from Malfurion seems to be far outweighing Karazim. Karazim is AoE heals that require you to be near him, and Malfurion Buds dropping down those Moonfires over and over, spreading out those regrowths. The health bars look much better on the side of Octalysis as those skirmishes go on. There is still the 1-kill potential from ENDEMIC at any given moment, but Octalysis has managed to keep a lot of that from happening.
Do you think maybe a palm here would have helped for ENDEMIC? I mean, you look at Johanna, he has iron skin, or she has iron skin, so that might counter things. Chromie has timeout. ETC gets his own armor and has some self-heal, so I don't know if maybe they're worried about some of the overlap.
Well, I think it goes back to your previous point when you assessed this draft, was that it was simply a matter of we're here to kill one target, and 7-sided strike does that pretty well when you can get the isolation with the Bless Shield combo. And I would say that Chromie does more than okay to fill that role of following up Cursed Bullet. But now ENDEMIC getting some control in this bot lane.
Yeah, this is nice. Octalysis wanted to try to get 16, so they use that camp, push the top lane. The shrines are available, and Octalysis will get 16, but with the camp being able to get that bottom 4 is very nice for ENDEMIC, because that's going to help a lot with the pressure of these shrines.
I mean, it's a big chunk of experience, and it's a step in the right direction, but as we see Octalysis round 16, they are clearly in control. Obviously, the global is matched by that of a stage dive, although stage dive is a little bit more of an initiator, more of a team fighting skill and mechanic. And they are looking to isolate. Here's where the isolation comes in.
Yeah, he still is going to be temporal looped back, had the avatar, but with Cure coming in, an adaptation to just stage dive in, because he's dealt with the bottom. If anyone else shows up, he also is part of the, I'm going to keep someone in the 7-sided strike with the peel that he provides. So not only did they get the kill on Muradin, they get a kill on a team with 16, which gives them some of that comeback experience, and they got an avatar to boot.
I would say that the time and control that they bought in that to get back to 16, and the time that it will take Octalysis to reclaim control once Muradin comes back in will be enough for ENDEMIC to be on even playing field shortly. So that's a pretty important pickup there for ENDEMIC.
ENDEMIC wanted to squat this shrine if they could, but that was, I was just watching a Chromie and a Tracer 1v1, and my eyes were glued to the screen. I was impressed by Biggie willing to stay there, but of course Bronze Talons, auto attack's pretty nice versus a Tracer. Now Biggie's running from a much larger opponent in Goku as he stalked in.
I think just missed there, but 16 now here for ENDEMIC. Even playing field for the first time in what seems like forever. Octalysis, see if they've lost any of that momentum, because they were the ones that were in the driver's seat for a while. They have been in control. Now ENDEMIC is just walking in. They are coming to steal the camp. Justin not even willing to jump in there and needs to make sure that he is able to jump out, and jumping into that amount of blow up, not worth it.
Quad Giants bottom by some time as ETC heads back to the top. Dahaka's still there for Team Octalysis. Prismaticism clears those out pretty fast with the Plasma Cutter. With 16 comes Quantum Overdrive, and this is a Chromie who has set her lasers to kill. Between that, Dragon's Eye having the temporal loop now too. Cure's gonna keep Goku here as the rotation comes up.
Isolation Reju's dragged us there as well. 7-sided strike neutralized there, but the bomb came down and Goku gets deleted. Twilight Dream in response as they turn their attention towards Johanna. Stage Dive is going to join in the middle of this. Cure, however, is a little bit low, forced to power slide to safety, but the perfect hammer comes in. Pulse Bomb not able to land.
Cure made it out now. Michael Udall goes in and out. ENDEMIC trying to trade out on some of the damage here. Temporal Loop was used, but Drayden just recalls, and that is the benefit of having some of these heroes like Tracer, like Phoenix, who can do that. ENDEMIC still under fire. This time it's B-Kid who will fall. Big impact. Dansky are running. Cure has already made it out of here, just trying to keep the clear going, since with that fight, losing it the way they did, ENDEMIC is going to fall behind again.
I don't think Cure can stay there. Drayden, oh. Yeah, Drayden is working on a Pulse Bomb, is going to have it momentarily. Doesn't
They don't even
need
it.
I think Kira walks away from that. I think that they're fine to walk away from that. If you watch Draded move along that top lane, the entire thing he was doing was making use of his level 7 bullet time, getting the cooldown reduction. He was not blinking so that he could stack up those charges to chase down a kill if it was needed. Kira might have been in danger had Draded come in on that Tracer, but by sitting in that position, it was an easy chase down for the rest of the team. But that was actually very well disciplined by Draded. Now that leads to a DK. This keep under assault, we might see more.
Well, Kira's sacrifice didn't go completely unnoticed because Chromie is still alive, and that's a lot of the damage, along with 7-sided strike, and Justing's nearly melted. Hit by the temporal loop, but can they actually confirm the kill? Not with that purification salvo, forcing everyone from ENDEMIC back. Kira's gonna be back in with a stage dive right now. ENDEMIC have one last shot for the fight, and they lose Chromie at the start.
Big loss there, as now we're trying to see ENDEMIC hold on. Shield starting to fall. DK, however, just a few percentage points away. They're gonna try and hold on, but there's gonna be a drag that's gonna land on a Dansky. Pulse bomb, follow up, that should be enough. Udall and team, they're diving onto the Phoenix. Can Prismat make it out alive? He should be just fine there. 3 members down on the side of ENDEMIC. Unconquered Spirit comes in. 4 members down. Cure all that's left, and that is going to be game over as Octalysis dominates here in game number 1.
And you can send that all the way back to when ENDEMIC were very focused on getting a double camp out. They spent a lot of people there. They had one person in mid who took a lot of damage. The shrines were held. Chromie was left in the bottom versus Malfurion. Couldn't get that one. ETC couldn't get the shrine versus Dahaka. Bkud took a lot of damage. And then more came into the mid. More took damage. And the early Dragon Knight, it was early, but it did open up some of those structures. And I feel like that was almost prophetic of how the rest of that game and the difficulty of not only just capturing a Dragon Knight, but even just stopping Dragon Knights from Octalysis was going to be for ENDEMIC.
It was tough. It was tough for ENDEMIC. And the ETC pickup, I am still not sold on ETC in the solo lane on this battleground and in that instance. Again, that clear strategy that they had right out of the gates was thwarted instantly. And I think that was a setback that ENDEMIC was not prepared for. But I want to go back to the part of Prismat and Draded. So often when I talk about Octalysis, the talent, the sheer raw talent of Justin and Buds and Goku, it's evident. There's no denying it. But again, finding the identity here for these 2 members, now all of a sudden I get to say Prismat and Draded a lot more often. We're seeing more of a setup role, more of an initiation role, and allowing the backline of Prismat and Draded to do work, because the numbers at the end of that game definitely stood out to me. Enabling those 2 to really go off in this instance shows the potential of this team. And this is the Octalysis that I like to see, that I want to see. Again, they're still rounding, smoothing out some of those rough edges, but this is a very good weekend for them to work towards that identity.
Versus Simplicity, we talked a lot about prismaticism, his Leeming, his Chromie, and how strong he was on these skill shot heroes, strong enough that he talked a little bit about why he doesn't feel like he needs dominance. He's safe enough without it. He trusts in his team. He trusts in his own play. And he went off with resets. In this game, yes, he played a great Phoenix, but it's Draded and that Tracer that looked so good for Octalysis. And when you can say that about a team, that anybody can be a playmaker, potentially even Buds in some of the routes that he had that game, that's the kind of thing that you say about world-class teams. I remember saying that about Fnatic. So if this team can continue going, this could be another top team. They may already be there, but definitely could challenge Heroes Hearth and Tempo Storm.
I mean, it was just Crowan that was saying that he believes that Octalysis is a top 2 team. I mean, that is a bold statement for an Octalysis team that lost to Tempo Storm. So we'll see if they can keep it up.